So let's continue our cricket discussions now, this time on a happier note. West Indies women snatched the spot in the T20 World Cup semi-finals after beating England in their final Group B encounter earlier Tuesday in Dubai. The Caribbean women, in a must-win situation, restricted England to 141 for 7 after winning the toss and fielding despite a half-century from Nat Shiver-Brunt with 57 and 21 from captain Heather Knight, who was forced to retire hurt. Alfie Fletcher was the best West Indian bowler with 3 for 21. Skipper Hayley Matthews supporting with 2 for 35. Matthews returned to score a 38-ball 50 in a 102-run first wicket stand with Kiana Joseph, who also batted 38 balls for her 52. She was player of the match as the Windies reached 144 for 4 to win with 12 balls to spare. The result propelling the West Indies to top of Group B with South Africa by virtue of a superior net run rate, sneaking past England for a semi-final spot. All three teams finishing there on 6 points, winning 3 games and losing 1. Well, the West Indies will face New Zealand in a semi-final on Friday. That's semi-final 2. And Australia will be playing South Africa in the first semi-final on Thursday. Out of St. Kitts and Nevis, commentator Vernon Springer joins us to review the match. Vernon, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Always great to talk cricket with you, sir.
All right. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Well, let me start here because I was suggesting earlier on the show, Vernon, that the West Indies, from the team they picked to play the match, sent a positive message because Stefania Taylor has been struggling with an injury, and I'm not sure how they felt about playing her or not playing her, but I think the decision to not play her in this match from the very outset set a positive tone for the West Indies approach to the game.
But I think, Lance, if you're a betting man and you decided that you were going to bet against the West Indies today, then you would have lost out, because to me today was almost like a semi-final game. It was a must-win situation for the West Indies team, and it was also a must-win situation for England. I think during the World Cup so far, this has to be easily one of the best tracks that we've seen so far in the World Cup. And we're talking about 285 runs with 29 boundaries and 6 sixes, 11 wickets fell, 3 half-centuries. Kiana Joseph leading the way. And I think the West Indies would have won in the power play, something which we have not seen consistently happening during this ICC Women's T20 World Cup. And like I said, the other tracks that we were seeing before today was really like a belter. And so the West Indies really went out. And what I think really happened for the captain, Hayley Matthews, is that, Kiana Joseph, scoring her maiden half-century in T20, she just played to her strengths. And England just couldn't deal with the pressure. And that they just wilted under the pressure. But it was a good game. It was a good display by the West Indies.
Yeah, and I thought looking at, England played a really bad game. They were really poor today, England. Not to take anything away from the West Indies performance, because they were pretty solid. The performances of Deandra Dottin in every aspect of the game, her batting, her fielding, her catching, and her bowling, very, very solid today. Hayley Matthews was brilliant as usual, both with ball and bat, and leadership of the team. And to think that Kiana Joseph matched her stride for stride said a lot about Kiana Joseph's input in this game, because when Hayley Matthews is attacking and unsung, it's very difficult for anyone to keep pace with her, and Kiana Joseph did.
Yeah, well, Kiana Joseph played within her limitations, and she played within her limitations in terms of where the ball came. So once he came in her particular area, she was very strong in the power play. And if you match up the England's power play, you realize that England was 34 for 2, while West Indies was 67 without loss. I see a lot of write-ups around the world, Lance, from folks in England, and they were talking about how many chances Kiana Joseph, 5 chances and XYZ. But the West Indies themselves, they started also on a sluggy note. It's only until when Dottin took that stunner and came up with the run out that, really kind of change the whole game, concept of the game. But I think credit must go to Kiana Joseph. But I also want to give credit to Afi Fletcher as well, too, the veteran, picking up some 24 wickets, 24 T20 wickets in a calendar year. Again, passing another legend, Stephanie Taylor. She's got 24 now. That's got to be a remarkable bowling performance. But I'm a little concerned going into the semi-final game quickly, Lance. We use 8 bowlers today. We can't afford to let up. You know, the only 2 bowlers that bowl 4 overs today, and that's something which I feel that they're going to have to address going forward. You know, who are going to be the bowling unit? Yes, I know that they got some injuries and so some folks played, but I want to see West Indies concentrate by deciding now that it looks as if Dottin looks like she's in full gear and can bowl. I want us to concentrate on using 5 bowlers and working around that, rather than just easing the pressure off and saying, okay, yeah, well, let me give Lance and let me give somebody else another over. Got to go against New Zealand. We got to be able to bowl, really go at New Zealand, back of the length, and really go at them hard.
Yeah. Who would you go with? Who would be your 5 bowlers?
Well, on any given day, you saw Chanel Henry look real good today in 2. I thought I would have gone even 1 more for Chanel Henry. She's a powerful athlete. And I think that is something that you could be able to go for. Today when James was bowling, if I was the skipper, I would have maybe bowled out James because she wasn't bowling bad at all. Yes, she pulled her out from 2 and then brought in Afi Fletcher and she got the breakthrough. But I'm saying there's something new today that happened where Hayley Matthews didn't bowl at the start-up. So I thought that was a good move. But I'm saying that, you know, we got enough strength. Aline, Dottin, Chanel Henry, Matthew, we got a good 5.
So you wouldn't bowl
on any given day.
You wouldn't bowl Ram Harak?
Well, it depends on the context and the pitch situation. So I can't predict what's going to happen on New Zealand, whatever's going to happen. If we're playing on slow pitches, that's a different ball game. But if we're playing on a pitch like what we played today, I don't know if I need to use Ram Harak in the lineup based on what we have.
Okay. And, you know, you mentioned Deandra Dottin briefly, but I feel like we need to spend some time talking about her because today, brilliant on the field as well. I was shocked when I saw her bowl. Happy, though. Very, very happy to see her bowling because we know how dangerous she is once she gets that ball in her hand. Of course, she influences the game in many different aspects. But today on the field, Dottin was on fire.
Well, if you have a Deandra Dottin in your team, she's a world-class fielder. She's a world-class all-rounder. She's a world-class cricketer. When we look at the tournament, we have seen really a below-par ICC World T20 tournament. Some 75 drop catches in the semi-final stages of the matches. That's done by Dottin. And I don't know if it is the technical staff that are around maybe most of the teams, but I find that one of the things which I'm seeing happening rather than fielders staying on their feet and looking to feel the ball is that a lot of people are diving rather than staying on their feet. If you look at Dottin's composure and how Dottin go about it, the center of gravity is always low to the ground. So when she's moving like a tiger. Most of the other fielders are, tend to be straight up and they're reacting late. Dottin is somebody who's gunning in there. She wants the ball to come to her. And I think that is something, if West Indies could just lift their game, because they haven't played their best cricket yet. Their best cricket is against New Zealand. And if they think that they played well today, they're going to have to lift their game even further, meaning they're going to catch everything against New Zealand.
Yeah, really will have to come out very positive against New Zealand. One quick one before we go, Vernon, and this is about the future of West Indies women's cricket. We are seeing a lot of youngsters. They have come into the team based on whatever situation they have been faced with, and they've really been stepping up. And for me, it makes my heart happy because when I think about the future of Windies cricket, I see young players ready to come into the setup and take up the responsibility.
The territories, Lance and Mariah, have to be able to start to really address women's cricket. And we can't address women's cricket only when we have a tournament coming up, be it in St. Kitts or in Guyana, when it comes to the women's cricket team. I applaud Cricket West Indies for, having some academy players. Let me say congratulations to Shanisha Brittany Hector from Antigua and Barbuda and the Leeward Islands for getting a contract. But it has to be more than that. We have to find technical people around. And when Courtney Walsh was the coach of the West Indies women's team, when he tried to form a team, this was some of the challenges that he had. And I'm sure the new coach is also going to have the same challenge. Cricket West Indies would organize camps. And when the players leave Antigua and Barbuda and they go back to their respective territories, there were not enough attention paid to the ladies' fitness levels or even their skill set levels. They were just like brushed aside. If we're serious about women's cricket, and I'm just saying this for Cricket West Indies, yeah, we have tournaments where we have all of the territories playing against each other. But I want to see, Lance and Charisma, maybe a franchise setup where we have 4 franchises rather than saying we have 6 territories playing the cricket. We have to look around and groom the women's game because a lot of the senior players are moving on. So begin to set up a franchise system, maybe a 4-team franchise system with maybe a caliber of 20 players. That's 80 women cricketers, and begin to work from there with a second 11. I think that is something that we're going to have to address, and we have to get people to teach the young ladies the game, not just, oh, yeah, it's women's cricket, so we're just getting them. No, we have to teach them because going on the international stage is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Vernon, because there are clear signs globally that some of the other teams have improved over the last 10 years in a more profound way than the West Indies game has improved. And that speaks to the point that you just made. But Vernon, thanks again for talking with us on this. We hope the West Indies will do well in the semi-final against New Zealand and go hunting for the title. Thanks, Vernon.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, God bless you guys.
Okay, and we have our final break on the SportsMax Zone back in a moment with our interactive segment.